And you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless you have, if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America. We do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Welcome to Startup on the Blocks. How are you, Gary?
What's going on, Lloyd? I'm great. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here, and I appreciate you supporting what we're doing. And I guess in the long run, let us know how we can support you in all your efforts as well.
Will do. Yeah. Certainly will do.
Okay. Let me share my screen here and thank our sponsors for all the great support. This is just a few of them. We have some more, but I definitely want to give a shout out to, and I guess you may be familiar with some of these organizations, but I'm thinking I probably need to put the Black Innovation Alliance up here as well, right?
I think so. I think it's well deserved.
Yeah. So because we definitely are a member of that, and definitely getting a lot of great support, and that's how we met. So. Yes, so that's good. So we work with a lot of the Blacks in Technology founders, and Florida Power and Light. They actually sponsor our Black Founder program here in Florida, and so that's a pretty neat deal. So they allow us to run some cohorts and provide training as well. And we also are partnered with Startups Science. That's our other platform, and that's this little green one here. And we're also partnered with Make Startups, but we're already on this side. I guess I got to add them to this Slack because they have a training program as well, and we're looking forward to get some founders plugged in to that. Pat, had you ever heard of Make Startups?
I have, yeah. They're pretty popular.
Yeah, and so they created a training platform called Co-Founder OS, and what's neat about it of course it incorporates AI, but when the founder first applies and they fill out an application and the thing grades their application so they get a score, and they actually teach you skills. And as you go through the program, you can see the skill level improving. So it's measuring everything. So that's a pretty neat thing. So we're looking forward to rolling that out. Probably definitely before the fall to get that going. Yeah, and get a lot of support from the local banks and regional banks and like the First Bank, Renaissance Bank. So we're excited about that. And Industry Hotel, they're one of our big sponsors. They sponsored, when we got started, they sponsored our first 5 or 6 pitch competitions. So that was good. Yes. All righty. So why don't you take a second to kind of a minute or two to introduce yourself. Let the audience know a little bit about.
For sure. Sounds good. I appreciate you, Lloyd. I'm grateful to have this opportunity just to, one, catch up with you.
Yes.
But also to collaborate and hopefully, drop some knowledge that will benefit someone in the audience. But yeah, so my name is Garry Johnson III. I am an award-winning entrepreneur. I am a business professor. I am a self-published author, and. I'm just passionate about entrepreneurship. So a lot of what I do is experimenting with different things so that I can learn different lessons and be able to teach them to people from a perspective of, hey, I'm not just teaching you theory, I am teaching you how it really works because I've gone through it. So I am in the innovator support ecosystem. So, just like Lloyd and just like a lot of the organizations on the previous slide, I've started organizations and run organizations that create programming for early stage entrepreneurs, primarily people from underrepresented communities. We really want to create more accessible education, resources, connections, all the things that are necessary, absolutely necessary to build a successful business. But as we know, this world is not fair, it is not equitable today. So we're trying to solve that problem as a collective. Even though we are in different organizations, we collaborate in communities like Black Innovation Alliance to really scale up our impact. So I love doing things like that. I am an investor as well. So I do like to support founders, financially where I can, and also help them get connected with other investors that are appropriate for their industry, their size, and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of that stuff, a lot of I would say I'm sort of like a generalist in this space. So anything an entrepreneur needs help with, like, I'll try to help myself, but if I don't have the answer or have the resources, I will connect you with someone who does. So over time, I have supported a global community of over 300 entrepreneurs, helping them raise over $500,000 in non-dilutive capital and over $5 million in venture capital.
Okay.
Yes. So the money is just one side of things, but the other side is like the coaching, the strategy, the coming up with what are the business models that you should implement, the different tools and platforms you can leverage without spending a whole bunch of money to grow your business. That's really where I find I have a lot of fun working with entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's really great, and I'm definitely excited to kind of have connected with you, and I'm glad we finally got you on the program here. And in essence, what we try to do is help new founders and existing founders understand that there is a process that you go through, this phases that your startup goes through. So I use this chart just to kind of show founders that you don't just jump to one or two. There's a lot of work that foundation that you have to build early on. But the real reason why I like to show this slide is because no matter which stage you're at here, or phase you're at, there's typically some organization or something in the ecosystem that actually can help you out at each one of these stages and help you get to the next stage. And so what a lot of founders find it hard to believe is that somebody's going to help you before you actually launch your business. And so that's the point I like to show on this slide. And then on the other end, I've even come across organizations that help startups scale from 5 to 10 million to 100 million, a year. And so it's just good to understand that even at the idea stage, you can actually get some help to kind of keep moving forward. So that's one perspective of the phases that a startup founded. This is from Startup Commons, and they have a whole curriculum that's open source. Anybody can go through it. There's YouTube videos, and it's amazing that the stuff out there is just there for for the to take in. So they open source all that training course, and they have a free AI thing as well that you can ask the AI thing any question, and that you know, as you're building your startup. So this is the Lean Stack roadmap, but it's kind of more of a startup milestone thing that you're looking at here, and you're trying to validate your business model as you go through these particular phases. And I love this particular view because what it shows at this this green area here is that's when you're working on your business model and trying to design a scalable business model and stress testing that business model. So so in the programs you've been in, had you ever heard the term or the phrase stress test your business model?
I had not actually.
Yeah. So
brand new.
yeah. Yeah, and so, and so Ash came up with basically 3 stress tests that you can do with your business model at the idea stage, and so one of them is a viability test, and so you can plug a few numbers into the viability tool, the traction roadmap tool, and in less than 5 minutes you can know if your pricing model is viable or not, based on whatever your goal is. And so it's these simple tools that you can kind of do a gut check on your business idea before you spend a lot of time and money out there on it. And then so the other purpose of that is, and this is just at the idea stage, and what the founders are learning is they're learning how to pitch their business model, not their product. And so you pitch your business model to recruit a co-founder, to get into a pitch competition, to get into a pre-accelerator program or accelerator program, and that you're literally pitching how you make money, and the business model is the product, and you're pitching what you're building, and so we you know, when in the smaller areas, that's a kind of a foreign concept to founders sometimes. So, but so in the programs that you participated in, Gary, they teach you. I think they would teach you how to do a business model, right?
Yeah. So, like I said, so I'm a professor as well.
Yeah.
So I teach lean startup methodology.
Okay, good.
At University of Delaware. Shout out to Born Entrepreneurship.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes. So I teach, but I also am an entrepreneur. So I've been through a bunch of different programs.
Yes.
Not everyone teaches lean. It is more common, I think, than it was before, but there's so many different variations of it, right?
Yeah.
And also to your point about geography, like wherever you're based, there may be some different nuances that sort of are applied to like the way of thinking in how companies are how startups are built. So what I learned is that like in Silicon Valley, right, like that's where a lot of this comes from.
Yeah.
And in Silicon Valley, like the money is flowing a lot more freely and readily, and companies left and right are getting investment. Just, you know, you can have an idea on a napkin and like, that's the story. And then all of a sudden you got these guys who have, you know, a couple million in the bank, turn this idea into a reality.
Yeah.
You know, but here where I'm at, I'm based in Philadelphia, but sort of cut my teeth right outside of Philly in Delaware.
Yeah.
You know, totally different startup environment, right? Where it's a more, I would say, more traditional business mindset.
Yeah.
Not as, you know, not as innovation focused, but certainly has made strides and developed. But I actually took it upon myself to sort of take methodologies like this, right? Things that I even was learning at the university, but didn't see existing in the community, and said, no, the community needs to learn, lean startup methodology and how to build a business model. And what I would sort of call out, like, part of the trap with this model is that you get to a point, or at least you can get to a point, where you are pitching your business model, like you said, and you're trying to get this idea off the ground. You've got this vision for a startup. You see it clearly in your head. You're trying to articulate it to others so that you can, again, turn it into a real thing and find success for yourself. So that takes a lot of pitching. It takes a lot of communicating your vision strategically and intentionally. That takes a lot of energy. So you're then going through all of this work to keep pitching your vision, your high level concept, and you're not building a business. So like, one of the things I like to call out with entrepreneurs is just, you have to understand, the investors are not going to build the business for you. The people who give you the prize money in the pitch competition are not going to build the business for you. Like, that is your job. So you have to know when you're able to secure the resources you're asking for, you then have to switch. You actually have to build. And ideally, in an ideal world, you've been doing both at the same time. Because really, especially today, in today's market, investors are more risk averse. They want to see more traction. So it's even less likely for you to get funding for an idea, as opposed to if you come to the table by saying, hey, I launched this idea, I've gotten some traction, I've got my first set of customers, purchase orders, clients, whatever it might be. Investors, judges of pitch competitions, they're much more likely to believe that your business model vision actually can work.
And this curve here actually is a traction curve, and so that's the thing we should point out here. So down here you don't have much traction, but as you go through these milestones, you actually get more traction. And the other thing that's unique about this particular curve is, in this business model design phase, the traction roadmap tool that builds this traction roadmap, it literally does a printout to tell you how many customers you have to get in your sales funnel in order to meet this curve. So for 3 years. So you know what you have to do each month in order to kind of make things happen. But the good news is the good news is that you start off slow, and as you learn, then you scale. But it's just all about meeting these milestones, and that's kind of helps. To me, this helps a founder know, where the next thing they need to do, in this process is just trying to get through these milestones, and the holy grail is this product market fit that everybody's trying to get to. But it's nice to know that there's some other milestones that it's not happenstance. There's some other milestones you have to meet. And finally, the startup science, the one we had Greg on last week, and he's breaking down this particular roadmap, or as those other two charts showed. It's trying to show the phases that you go through, but it's showing kind of what you do, at these different phases, and so. But he designed this particular thing based off the fact of having a vision and going to an exit. So everything you need to know to get from a vision or your idea to an exit, that's what this particular program is about. And by the way, folks and artists, we offer all these programs to founders at no charge, and so you can actually get access to it and harness this knowledge and get access to these tools that you can use to kind of kind of move forward. And so like if you want to do a cohort or use the tools that are in this program right here, Gary, there's no problem. We can set you up with the stuff, and you can let your founders get access to this as well.
That would be great.
Our goal is to get it to at least 1,000 founders this year.
Yes, yes. Listen, let's make it happen. And would you mind going ahead to the exit slide you were on?
Yeah,
I think this is so important because I would say a lot of entrepreneurs don't necessarily think past the vision when they're first getting started. So, what Lloyd is breaking down is just showing like, hey, there's a life cycle for this business. It's like being a human being, the lifespan of a human being.
Yeah.
There's essentially life and death. So with your business, it's the same thing. It starts as this baby and it grows up, and eventually it has this exit, and the exit in the business world looks like a variety of different things.
Yes.
But you should be intentional, I would say, from the beginning about what is your end goal. Are you building this business to sell it to someone else? Do you want to keep it in your family? Do you want to grow it to the point where it's listed on the stock market, right? Like, there are a lot of different options, and that also influences like the type of business that you build and how you structure it and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, and I did want to point out to folks in the audience, feel free to ask any questions about it, any of the stuff we're talking about, or if you have a particular question about your particular startup, or if you're thinking about doing a startup, we definitely be happy to answer any questions that you have. That's what we're here for. So feel free to do that.
Lloyd, to that point, you had a guest on last week that had 20-something exits. Can you share more about that?
Okay. Yeah. So Greg Shepard, Gregory Shepard, he he had been through 12 exit plus some other stuff, but so what he decided to do was, build a training platform that allowed so founders can actually, learn how to do what he did. So he captured all that knowledge, and I can actually show you here. Let me. And he put it in this a startup science platform, and in general, the platform has these collection, and they're just a collection of courses, and so and they're all the courses that kind of take you through those life cycles and helping you understand a lot of stuff in that. And so, and then these collections, they're just, and you don't have to do them in any particular order. You can jump in and do whatever, but it's just, I would imagine, I think it's at least about 30 courses in there, and they're not long, but they're impactful. And what happens as you're going through the course, you're actually filling out this profile. And so, like, for example, if you're looking at the profile and you let's say you got to do a pitch and you don't know how to calculate these things here or what they are, all you do is just click in and go through the training and to help you understand that. And then there's a tool that actually calculates it for you. So that's the way this works. But you can share your profile, with investors, mentors, people, so like, and just to get through it. But as an investor, that if the founders can't answer some of these things, you're not going to want to invest in their company. But this particular training, it literally, has, you got all the knowledge you need to communicate with anybody. You got all the knowledge you need to know how to fill out an application.
Yeah.
So, to me, I can't see why a founder wouldn't want to, make sure they understand what these terms are, and so that they can actually use them. And so these are the tools. This competitor finder tool, market sizer tool, the founder savings. It's available, but it's still behind a paywall. But eventually, he's going to take that, and it's just a bunch of perks. And we got alternative places to get those perks. Grants. Find grant writers. Find acquirers who's going to acquire your company. Partners. Yeah, and these are some other tools that are still behind the paywall, but he's working on funding to kind of release all those things. But so there's no excuse for not having the knowledge. That's kind of what we're on a mission for. And if you can help share this stuff and help get people access to it, I think that's what we're hearing all about, to try to do that.
We start today.
Okay.
So, yes, we start today. I hope everyone is paying attention, because, like, for me, when I was just getting started out, I was running around everywhere, right? Like, looking for access to information, like not even really understanding what all do I need to know.
Yes.
Right? You have no idea what all you need to know. So this tool really has it all in one place. Whereas I was sort of building my knowledge base piecemeal, right? And using this platform for one thing, another platform for another thing, using I don't know, YouTube, watching a bunch of so many YouTube videos, breaking down all these concepts.
Yeah, and what I remember too, and I talking to other founders, I remember too, is if you want to do the lean startup methodology, what over time, how does everything keep continually connected together? As you go through, and it's just a lot of unanswered questions when you're out there as a founder that you don't realize. But I did want to show you one other thing real quick, since and this is the Lean Stack platform here, and so it has two. This particular cohort has two trainings in it. It has the 30-day training, this business model design stuff in here for 4 weeks, and it actually doesn't take 4 weeks. But if you knew it could potentially take 4 weeks. But if you're seasoned, but one of the main reasons you want to do this is because it's teaching you how to pitch, how investors are people that was willing to help you. It's teaching you that business model story pitch. But I was telling you about the tools, and let me see. I'm gonna go in here and find a mess with somebody's tool done, might shoot me.
Uh-oh.
Careful. I'm messing with his tool. Let me see if I can find. And that's the other crazy thing about this system. You can build as many lean canvases as you want, and you can see here he has an extreme here. He's got a bunch of them. But once you do your lean, go through the stuff about stress testing your lean canvas, and one of the ways you stress test it is through this traction roadmap. So all you need for that is your pricing model, and kind of what your goal. And the simplest business model is a direct model. So I'll just pick that one just to do a little quick example here, Gary. And you set a goal for your recurring revenue in 3 years from now. And so let's say I just choose 10 million annual recurring revenue. And let's say I'm selling a product and I'm doing recurring revenue, a monthly recurring revenue. Let's say I'm charging $50 a month, and so the retention. So this model only covers three years. So we'll just do 2-year retention just to show some churn. And acquisition rate, 10%. So if you get 1,000 people to your website, 10% of them do a trial. That's 100 people, but 10% of them actually buy. So you're down to 1%. So that's basically we can leave that there. And then if you're getting referrals, you can put something here, and I'll just put 1 out of 10 people will do a referral, and you want to grow your business at a 10x rate, and the 10x rate is actually easier than a 5x or a 3x rate. And so you hit the continue there, and it builds your customer factory. And so so just that quick is saying based on your minimum success criteria to get to this 10 million with your pricing model 50, lifetime of your customer is 2 years, 10% acquisition rate, referral rate 10%. You would need at least 10,000 visitors every day to in the 3rd year. And so what happens is it shows you what you need to do each month, and that so like this is basically saying in this last 1 to 3 years you need this many people getting into your sales funnel in 1 month in order to be doing that revenue. Wow. So and so like what happens is if you come out here and this thing is saying that you need 6 million people, your pricing model is bad.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit more to it than that. But you can also use this to help with determine the feasibility as well. But those are just a couple of the tools that and so you've got the pitch thing, the rollout plan, this customer forces thing. This is in the 90-day, man. This uses AI, to help you determine what you should build.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so and of course you can do sprints all the way through the thing, but that's kind of a little stuff to get access to. And
Would you mind going back to the Lean Canvas? There's a question from Facebook that asks, I believe they were asking about the Lean Canvas. Terry on Facebook asked, would that work for up and coming nonprofits? And I certainly have my perspective, but please go for it.
Okay. Yeah. So we have, you can use this business modeling on nonprofits. I don't see any problem with that, because you need some alternative way of revenue model just besides donations.
Well, that's exactly it, right? So every nonprofit needs a business model. I would urge every nonprofit owner, well, technically you're not an owner, but director, right? If you are leading some organization or thinking about starting a nonprofit, you still need a business model, just like a startup company, just like a small business. There needs to be a strategy in place for you to bring in money that allows you to execute and do the work that you want to do in the community that you want to serve and have the impact that you want to have in the world. So super important. And also donations, that's one part, that's one item you can add to your revenue streams, right? That's one way that we make money. But nonprofits can sell things, right? Like you can basically do everything that a regular business does. It's just a different type of entity that has different sort of tax implications and ownership structures. So I think that is a place where a lot of nonprofit leaders get caught up is not thinking like an entrepreneur, not thinking like a CEO. You're thinking like You're thinking like a charity, which your nonprofit may be a charity, but it's very unlikely for you to really be able to build the organization you want to build by asking for money all the time. You know, figure out what is the service I can provide, what is the product I can create, in addition to going to funders and people that have, you know, access to the capital that is dedicated to supporting organizations like yours and missions like yours. But the Lean Canvas will help you flesh that out, because, you know, you have your customer segments, right? The people that you serve, but your customers are sort of like, it differs, right? You have your beneficiaries, which are like the people who benefit from the work that you do in your nonprofit. So, and those people may never pay you a dime, but they absolutely would go in your customer segments box on your Lean Canvas. But I would also include in your customer segments the funders you plan on getting money from, right? Who are the people that see you as a vehicle for, you know, putting their money to good use, right? And then you build a strategy around, how do we get money from them to be able to serve that other group over there that doesn't have the access to the resources. So yeah, I would highly encourage any nonprofit leader or someone thinking about building a nonprofit to leverage the same tools.
Yes, and I'll give I'll put the link in to kind of join our startup community. Here's the link. Terry, he's asking a bunch of questions, so I'll just paste the link in here. So this link is basically it's to the startup program. But if you go to our Get Started program, it has the links for a lot of the programs that we do and the resources that are available there. So when you fill out that thing to join our startup community, there's the form has a question on there about, do you want to get access to the Lean Stack and the startup science? So once you fill out the form, you'll get put into a cohort and to take advantage of the training stuff.
Awesome. And how does the Grant Finder feature work?
I actually haven't used that, but I say what I tell everybody: get in there and start clicking. Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff, and so on our Get Started page, we also we have an opportunity database as well. I'll paste that link in there, and so for the folks in the audience, the whole idea you go through the training is so you can take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. When you apply for the opportunity, it wants you to speak that that Lean startup language, and if you don't speak it, that startup ecosystem language, if you don't speak it, it's gonna lessen your chances of getting the help you need.
Yeah.
And literally, that's how you leverage the ecosystem to get you all the way through that. I say even leverage to get all the way up to product market fit, because the best time to raise money is right around the product market fit time. And so if you're trying to raise money before that, you're too early. You have to leverage the ecosystem to get the funding that you need.
Super important. Learn the language. It is a new language, but it is still English for us, so you can learn it. And the more you practice, right, the more you actually get into these tools and just go through the process, like, you'll get comfortable with it. At first, you will not really know what you're doing, but you have to get started to be able to figure it out. And the Lean Canvas is not asking you a bunch of questions. It's 9 boxes. You could even, write it down on a piece of paper if you wanted to. But it's to just get.
To me, it's just to get the idea out of your head, and just and start everything gets a lot more clear when you fill out those nine blocks. And Ash always say you shouldn't spend more than 20 minutes on it at any one time. It's just a data dump out of your brain. So
Yeah.
Tony, he has this question about the multi-sided business model, and so the tool, works for that too. And so the training also gives some background on how to do that. But it's literally it's about some marketing stuff that you learn, but you actually learn it in the training program. And Tony, you could set up a session with me. I generally have office hours on Saturday, 1 to 3 Central Time, and some of the other coaches, Vince, he has a calendar link that you can kind of get with him to kind of jump on that double-sided, multi-sided business model in a little more detail for you.
I could I'll give some free game real quick. I'm not on the coaching list just yet for office hours, but I would say for Tony, it's really like the same as the nonprofit example we just talked about, right? Like, you are thinking about the problem owners, the target audience that you look to serve, and you're saying you have a multi-sided business. So, list out like who are these individuals or businesses on each side. You have segments, right? You don't just have one type of customer, you have multiple segments for your customers. So list them, right? Like outline who they are, like what makes them unique. Be really as specific as you possibly can be. But then when you get to, the question was a business that works off ad revenue. So, ad revenue, if that's your core revenue stream, it's very hard, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs, like, they come up with ideas and they say, yeah, we're going to build this thing and we're going to make money by giving this app away for free, but we're just going to run ads and we're going to make a whole bunch of money off of ads. Sounds great, but realistically, in practice, to make a bunch of money off of ads, you need to have a bunch of users, right? Actually viewing your content, using the app, all that good stuff. So I would say if you haven't already validated that both sides of this market exist and there are customers or at least users willing to spend time and energy using your product, you need to really, think that through first, because like I said, I see it time and time again. Entrepreneurs just sort of default to ads. We're going to run ads and that's how we'll make the money. But they find out very quickly, they build this product, it's out in the world, and they just don't get enough people to use it to justify why an advertiser would even advertise on that platform, right? There's not enough eyeballs on the platform for them to be compensated appropriately, right? It doesn't really make sense for them. So unless you have a huge audience already, now is the time to get to work and actually start building up that community of people who have a particular problem. You're able to bring them into your ecosystem, whatever your app or website is, or even your service. And you have to make sure you can get a lot of those people so that it makes sense for the advertisers to actually be a part of your multi-sided business model.
Yeah. And also what I would suggest too, in the age of, these large language models, is to go ahead and ask the question, in there and have it act as a startup expert, marketing expert, and get your some decent information real quick. Yeah. So especially now too with the 4.0 ChatGPT 4.0, is actually goes into a lot more detail, on that stuff. But it's actually in the training, just kind of go through it, and you may have to go through it a couple times in order to understand it.
Yeah.
But don't definitely don't hesitate, to kind of leverage the AI stuff to kind of help you move forward on that. Yeah, and also to give you some ideas on so how to do that, and also some alternatives and different ways to do it. But what we always tell the founders is to actually just start modeling everything as a direct model first, just to kind of see what it takes. So I've even modeled both sides as a direct model, just to see how they look. And you can get some clarity there. But that's what the tool actually does when you put them together.
Use this AI. AI is changing the world very quickly. And, if you're not using it, if you're not leveraging it, I would say you're definitely setting yourself back, because AI can replace your co-founder at this point, right? Like, you can build a team essentially of different AI agents, and you can ask your team questions and say, like, what am I not seeing here, right? Like, what should I be thinking about? Does this business model make sense? What are examples of companies like the one I'm trying to build that you can help me understand more about what they did to get where they are, right? Like, all of these things, all this learning can be consolidated so quickly. So it's, if you really want it, like, the tools are out there and they're inexpensive or potentially even free. And I see Tony saying Gemini has been their office assistant. So, Google's got Gemini, OpenAI has ChatGPT, Microsoft is ChatGPT, I guess, but they probably have another tool too. So there's just so many tools out there.
There's no shortage of tools. I will mention, at the sustainability summit, did you hear them talk? They talked about Coda, and they also talked about this product called Task Aid. Did you remember hearing about that?
I may not have been in that track. I may have been in a different track.
Yeah. But so the Task Aid, and I'll type it in the chat here, taskade.com. And so they got a free version, $10 a month version, and the highs is the $20 a month version. And it's built off ChatGPT but it's for task management, but it's also for building agents and multiple agents. And but anyway, any project you got to do, it'll outline the tasks to the subtasks, the sub-tasks, and it's literally crazy, man. And it has all the personas already done. It has all prompt templates already done. It's just for that value. It's like really crazy.
Yeah. I'll have to try that one out.
But yeah, they actually did mention that down there, and I was already using it, but I now once they mention, I say I better dig a little deeper to see what all the stuff it can actually.
There's so much stuff, so it's like you're only going to learn it if you just tinker with it. It's very much like it's like being a kid, It's just like these are like toys, these are building blocks, and you can, take these ideas out of your head and then make them real with these toys. So, I use AI. I mean, a lot of us use AI and don't even realize it, but I use ChatGPT for various things. And I actually won a pitch competition by using ChatGPT to help with formulating the application submission, for one. So literally just like adapting what I already know about our business and have about our business to the specific questions they were asking, which, I didn't have all those answers just yet. So I use ChatGPT to complete the application, that got us into the semifinals. It got us to the stage, you know, to be able to pitch for a $35,000 prize. And, you know, what I know set us apart is that it's not because we used AI, you know, that we got to the stage. Like, for one, like we have a startup, we have a vision, we already have a business model, right? There's just some other little things here and there. It's like people want to hear the longer term vision, longer term strategy, all those different things like market insights, right? But what AI cannot replace is storytelling.
Yes.
And, you know, when you get on that stage, when you're actually in front of real people, they don't want to hear AI. They don't want to hear an AI script. They want to hear you. They want to hear what is your reason for being here? What is your story? Where do you want to take this business? Right. And what do you need to get there? So, you know, I don't want anyone to feel like, you know, oh, like AI is just going to replace everything. Like it cannot replace humans in that way.
Yeah, and what it actually does is, you know, you can tell your story but telling it clear and concisely, or that's what the AI does for you. It can make it more clear so the audience can understand it. And and so that's I think for me, it's like when you're pitching, you know, like Tony was saying earlier in the networking that, you know, the people going over their pitch over time, you know, and so, but that's because they're not being concise, clear and concise. They're using too many words. And what I learned is the more words you use, the more confused your audience get.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Too many words. And then also, I mean, part of my secret formula is cultural relevance.
Okay.
AI does not know Black culture nuances. You know, it's going to give you like, you know, a textbook answer, right? It does not understand culture. It cannot articulate that. It's just simply, I don't know. I'm actually not sure if AI can ever sort of copy and
the simple answer for me being an engineer, the simple answer is if you feed it the patterns of the culture, it will mimic the culture. It will learn the patterns, and that's the kind of beauty of it. But you know, like I think it would be good if you kind of we talk about your journey, you know, because you didn't just happen into this space. What kind of led you, you know, when you were in high school, middle school, what did you really want to be when you grew up?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I thought I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
I don't know. I never really.
So I'm trying to figure out what led you to the space you're in now. So you teach, you write, you know, you wrote the book and everything, what did you major in college, and what made you decide to major in that, I guess?
Yeah, no, I can tell you. So I get my leadership from my dad.
Okay.
And I get my entrepreneurship from my mom.
Okay.
So, so when I was young, my mom had a property cleanouts business. Okay. And that was her like hustle. You know, we just would clean out houses every weekend, and it was not fun. It was not luxurious. It was nothing to brag about. It was hard work. But we did it consistently, and it, you know, put food on the table.
Yeah.
So that was it's my first like memory of entrepreneurship, but I did not have the language for it. I did not know that it was called entrepreneurship. My mom didn't. I never heard her say, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner. Like, she just did this, what she did. Yeah. So it wasn't until I got to college where I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist. So I majored in exercise science and learned pretty quickly that I just wasn't passionate about that. I knew I wanted to help people, but you know, in what way? Didn't know yet. You know, I hadn't explored, I hadn't experimented. It's just like, hey, I have to pick a major off of this list, and you know, I should pick one that makes good money. So this one, I just could see myself doing it, but is it really what I want to do? I don't know yet. Yeah, so at the university, I discovered that there are just opportunities and resources for entrepreneurial students, and you know, I had no vision in my mind of like a product or a solution.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know. I have no idea, but I know that I want to do this. Like this sounds like freedom. It sounds like, you know, self-determination, like writing your own story and taking control of your own life and your destiny. I'm like, I'm all here for it. I don't know what it looks like for me, but I'm hearing other people find success.
Yeah.
And they're sharing their journeys. And I'm like, well, if they could do it, I could figure something out.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. So I just started applying, you know, signing up for the pitch competition, signing up for the startup programs. And the first one I did was in the health sciences college, where they gave you a little bit of money to work on a concept that was health related. So I was able to take my interest in fitness with my interest in business, and I was building a philanthropic fitness app. At the time, that was like my first venture, and went through this program. At the end of it, like if you did well, like you get to pitch on stage. I didn't get invited to pitch on stage, but had to get good at just articulating the vision to people. That was my first time, like really going through the gauntlet of like, okay, I'm talking to someone about what my startup is, and they have no clue what I'm talking about. So I have to get them to understand somehow.
Yes.
So did that, did the pitch competitions, like bombed in the first pitch competition. Judges didn't understand, like, well, why would anyone use this? Like, do you know people want to use it?
Yeah.
What's the business model? Like, I didn't have all of the answers. I was just like building this concept. It's just came up with the concept, and I'm going to put it out there. So I learned through experience that, you know, all the questions that you have to answer in the resources you provided and outlined, like those are things you should go through before you know, present your ideas to someone else. Like, you know, flesh things out. And all of these things that you put down are not facts. They're not truth. They're all assumptions, but they at least should be educated guesses, right? And then you're going to take those assumptions into the world and test them, experiment, whatever. So I did a lot of that, a lot of failing, but just being like every time I lost, like bouncing back and just being like, okay, got it. That's how that works. Okay, next time I got it. Like next time I got it. Yeah. So, you know, all I needed was to like lose that pitch competition, because I was like, okay, I see the questions the judges ask. You know, I see how the system works, sort of. Yeah. So, all right, cool. And over time, I just got really good at it. I practiced like a lot. I sacrificed a lot of time in college, not going out to a lot of things, not being as social as I could have been, because I was grinding in the Venture Development Center at University of Delaware. And now this is why I'm like an expert in this, because I've spent so many hours just trying to figure it out.
Fantastic, but fantastic. And so about how many pitch competitions would you say you participated in?
At least a dozen.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
At least a dozen. Yeah. And, I've won. So let's see. So the first one I ever placed in, I won second place. It was like $200. And then I did another one where I actually didn't win money, but when I got off stage, the director of our entrepreneurship program, was like, hey, I want to talk to you about grad school and a job. So that pitch landed me a scholarship to get a master's in entrepreneurship and design thinking.
Wow.
in addition to, yes, the year right after I graduated undergrad. So like 1 year out, you know, I got my master's.
I think you can say you won a lot there.
I did. No, I absolutely did. And that allowed me to be a course instructor. So I taught a college level course to high school entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And then after I completed the degree, I was able to start as an adjunct professor teaching college students. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. And that's to me, what you just explained is when you participate, you get benefit, you know, and so just by participating, you got referred to stuff. And the second pitch I did, it was no money involved in it, but I got referred to a program that gave $25,000. Wow. You see what I'm saying? You know, and so that's what's so people. And what's so funny about that first program I got that first accelerator program was in, I got one of the guys that was mentoring me. He was a retired, you know, BAE executive, and he mentored me. And so he was learning from what I was doing about AI, and he called me out of the clear blue on Tuesday morning. I hadn't talked to him over 5 years. He said, I just wanted to thank you, because he invested in NVIDIA stock back over 10 years ago.
Man, he is up right now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it.
Yeah. And he just decided to give me a call and said, you know, he appreciated what he learned working with me.
That's great. And that's the power of storytelling. That's like I gave a workshop with Mom Your Business. So Tanya Morris is another Philly local entrepreneurial powerhouse. And so we did a storytelling workshop last week, and I was just, you know, helping everyone understand, like, listen, when you get on that stage, whatever the stage is, you're talking to different people.
Yes.
There may be judges who have a rubric in front of them, and they're going to score you, and they're going to decide who gets the big check at the end of this. Yeah. But think about all the other people in the audience as well. Are you setting yourself up so that everyone in the audience has and understands some way that they can help you? Right? So yeah, exactly what you just said. Like, those opportunities happen all the time, and they only happen when the founders, entrepreneurs, you participate. For one, you got to show up. Even if you feel like you're not ready, show up. You will get ready. You know, put yourself in position, and then just make sure that you are like, be honest, be like fully yourself, and tell the room, like, what is your vision? Why are you here? What is the story that you want to unfold? And people will see themselves in that story, and then, you know, introduce themselves and be like, hey, I have that thing that you're looking for. Would love to talk to you later. Like, let's set up a call. Let's have coffee, whatever it might be. That happens all the time. So you may not win the big check in the competition, but, you know, the resources you get just for telling the world what you need, like it outweighs a check.
Yeah. Well, and also provide credibility that you're actually working on your startup. You know, because if you pitch, 3 months from now, you say, I'm at this stage and I'm going to this stage, and then 6-7 months from now, you pitching again, you've reached that stage. That's providing evidence that you're getting traction and you're growing, and that's the thing that's going to get you in the programs and get you the resources you need to kind of move forward. Tell us real quickly about your book that you wrote, so folks can be aware of that.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. So I wrote a book called The Ghetto VC, which teaches you how to invest like a venture capitalist, even if you have limited resources. So very much applying lean methodology that we teach to startups, to people interested in startup investing. Because part of the reason why we're here is, you know, startup companies, particularly those in the technology space, leveraging technology in some way, have the potential to create wealth for the owners, for the owners' families, for their communities. So, you know, when we look at the startup ecosystem as a whole, there are a bunch of stories of success, a lot in the mainstream, and many of them do not look like us. And part of the reason why they don't look like us is because, you know, this knowledge, these resources are not readily available everywhere. So a lot of what we do is just about education. These startups need resources. They need capital. The reason why we have Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, StreamYard, right? Like we're using right now, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching this, it's because there was some entrepreneur and they went out and, you know, articulated their vision, built something, and most likely raised money to be able to grow it and scale it. So we want more people from our community to do the same. And community members can participate by investing, by being owners, you know, in this ecosystem, not just customers. Like we talk a lot about supporting Black-owned businesses from a standpoint of spending money, and that is very important. But it's also important to invest our money in Black-owned businesses and in other companies, right? It's not just about investing in Black-owned companies, but in the book, I break down, you know, how venture capitalists think, the strategies that you would use to identify promising businesses, understanding the risks involved with investing in startups. It's even more risky than the stock market. But the potential is so much greater than that of the stock market. You know, like the people that invested in Uber and Facebook and Airbnb early on, you know, when they were just doing their lean canvas type of thing. These are people who have amassed great wealth. So, you know, the thinking is, well, how do we do that in our community? And the Ghetto VC breaks that down step by step.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so definitely order a copy of it and kind of get some insights from there. And we were talking about the Black Innovation Alliance and what it brings to the table. I wanted to get you know, your feedback on that.
Man, I mean, listen, we're gonna be here another hour because I have only good things to say about Black Innovation Alliance. This is the thing. Like entrepreneurship is so hard, and you know, you and I are entrepreneurs, whether the people we serve realize it or not, right? Like we're building an organization, we're building a company. We go through all the same things you are going through to get this idea off the ground, money in the bank account.
Yes.
All the highs and lows that come with that. And like when I got started, like I started doing this work of supporting other entrepreneurs because I just recognized like, wow, there are so many promising, like talented people in the community. And if only they had, you know, access to this knowledge that I'm getting at the university, like everybody's not going to go to college. Like, even if you do, like you just may not have ever been told like, hey, entrepreneurship is for you too.
Yeah.
But I just got really passionate because I found a passion for it myself, and wanted the community to have access. So I started creating programming in the local community, and I quickly found that, you know, it's like I'm the only guy. I'm like, at least like, you know, like I'm really the only guy like trying to build like this startup programming focused on serving underrepresented people.
Yes.
And I'm like trying to articulate my vision. I'm doing the pitch deck. I'm trying to get the funding, and it's just a challenge. It's just not popping off, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I did found some success. Thankfully, the county government funded our first accelerator, so that was a game changer. It's my first, it's my first customer. Actually, it was a pretty good sized check. But doing this work, you know, is very lonely. The journey of an entrepreneur is very lonely. Yeah. And I found in Black Innovation Alliance that, oh wow, there are people like me in other communities all over the place, in Florida, like Lloyd, in Georgia, like Christelle, right? Like, I mean, there's so many other people across the country and around the world doing this work because they know that knowledge is power and access to resources change the trajectory of our communities. So Black Innovation Alliance has become this thing where we are a collective. We are, instead of, building alone, we are building together, still owners of our own destinies, our own organization, companies, but sharing knowledge, sharing resources. We've gotten more funding from being a part of BIA and fundraising than going out and doing it alone. So, like I said, only good things. And like, just to be able to be in community with people who are committed to the work. And like, we had Sustainability Summit a couple of weeks ago, and it was just so like re-energizing for me, because I feel like I sort of lost the fire. But I'm like, nah, these are my people. And like, this feels like, to me, especially in this age of AI, like there's this new technological revolution unfolding right before us. And we have an opportunity, like you said, Lloyd, like, it's the people behind the AI that influence the direction that it goes. And like, we need to be at the forefront. We have an opportunity right now to make sure that we are at the forefront. We are building our own knowledge bases, right? Like, we don't have to just leverage other people's things. We are so creative. We are so innovative. We are inventors naturally. So I'm really excited about just like what the future holds for Black Innovation Alliance. It's only about 3 years old, but growing very quickly. And again, like, if we're all able to get the resources we need, like, our community becomes so much stronger.
Yeah, and like you said, I would reiterate, like, it's hard to imagine there's more than 200 other organizations that are trying to do what you're trying to do, help Black founders, and it's really crazy. So I'll answer this question from Terry about the nonprofit. I guess he's talking about a founder. So you can be a founder of a nonprofit, and there's an ecosystem for nonprofits, just like there's the ecosystem for startup founders. But the ecosystem for tech-enabled nonprofits that can scale. There are a bunch of programs out there for nonprofits there's a whole, on an email thing that we provide the link for a whole database full of opportunities for nonprofits. So there's no shortage of opportunities for nonprofits as well. But in the startup world, so like that, so Cocoa Institute is a nonprofit, and we take advantage of programs for nonprofit. That's how we keep we're able to do a lot of stuff, is because we do that. We also leverage programs, other programs that help us do what we're trying to do. So, and that's what we're trying to tell you. No matter what you want to do, there's an ecosystem out there that will help you do it. You just have to open up to it and realize that is there. And the bottom line is that, what approach do you know that you can start with an idea and people will help you and fund you, just based on what you're building. If you go out to do a traditional business, nobody's going to fund you just for that. But if you're doing something that's going to be impactful, it's to me, it's a no-brainer.
And I would say,
you're good.
I mean, I would say, like, like, be no less ambitious as a nonprofit founder, right? Like, be just as audacious as these tech companies, right? Like, talk billions, talk trillions. Like, the sky is the limit. So, have a big vision, and don't sell yourself short, right? Like, whatever impact you want to have in the world, like, just tell it, tell it. And your nonprofit, again, can be an innovative nonprofit in the way that you deliver your products or services. Exactly.
You create value through innovation, and Yeah, and so that's literally what it's all about. And you're in charge of creating your business model. You got all the help, and now you got all the AI tools as well to help you communicate more clearly and all this stuff. So, man, I don't think there's any excuse other than you just got to open up your mind and do that mind shift to the founder thing and realize all the opportunity that's out there, and it's going to be hard work.
It's gonna be hard. It's like, yeah, no excuses, but racism is real, discrimination is real, sexism is real, so that on top of building something from scratch, like the odds are against you, but we believe that we will be successful and therefore can make it happen. So just know the challenges come with it.
Yeah, and my philosophy on it all is equip yourself with the knowledge, to kind of move forward. Don't don't be a victim of racism and ignorance at the same time. You need to make sure you got the knowledge, and we're trying to give you access to the knowledge to kind of move forward, because literally you're smart enough to actually move forward if you learn to speak the language and the knowledge. Yeah. Okay.
100%.
Yeah. All righty. So any last words before we get off here?
Oh man, I'm just grateful, Lloyd. This was really fun. So looking forward to doing this again.
Okay.
Definitely ask everyone to, follow me. It's my name, Garry Johnson III, 2 R's in Garry. Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Please connect with me on LinkedIn if you're there. And hopefully we can do this again. And I would say, if I just had parting words for anyone listening, is to write your story. Like write it down on a piece of paper and start there. If you haven't started yet, write it down and then let these tools that Lloyd is providing and is breaking down, let them help you, flesh things out and take the next step. But at least start by just getting it out of your head and painting a clear picture of like, what do you see, and put it in the real world.
Fantastic. Yeah, definitely glad that. So we'll see everybody next week, and just to let you all know, there's no shortage of programs. We probably will have 2 or 3 new programs before the end of the year. So we got programs out the yang, so we just need folks to start taking advantage of it.
Hey, sign up, and sign up quickly. Don't wait till the last minute.
Yeah, start learning. So yeah, Tony, if you hold on just for a second, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in.